from Har Sinai. Yeah, so let me show you behind us is Har Sinai. I'll show you guys. There we go. That right there, that little peak up there is Har Sinai. And then we're going to start. Now today, before we went to Har Sinai, I went into the mikvah at the Red Sea. A lot of people from
your shorts were still on, Rabbi.
No.
I was there.
I kept my shorts on for modesty purposes, but the water was able to reach my whole body, and that's for sure halachically okay. They got to all the Beis Hashechi, all the Makomos. They got to everything, and we went to the Red Sea. We went to the place that some top scholars argue is the Kriyas Yam Suf, and we whether or not the Bnei Israel actually crossed the sea there is an open question. Unlike Sinai, which in my mind I feel like we're sitting at the place where Bnei Israel camped. This whole area clearly was a place where Bnei Israel were camping, or would have been able to camp here. Midjan, this is Midjan. It's very, very plausible. I think like if you had to say where is the place that Bnei Israel was, this would be my top choice. This would be my top choice.
Until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow is another strong possibility, but this is my number one choice. And so when we went to the splitting of the sea. We went to the place where they crossed the sea at the Red Sea. It's plausible, but we have no real evidence where they crossed the sea. So we don't know exactly, but we imagine that they crossed the sea there. And then after we immersed in the mikvah, we came up from the water there and we ate shmurah matzah. We had a shmurah matzah. You want to hear the story of how we had shmurah matzah? It's an unbelievable story. This is an unbelievable story. There was a man. There's a mashkiach who's here with us, and this mashkiach with us, I called him up. He was back in the hotel, and I called him and I said, "Listen, Shner Zalman, Chaskelson, he's from Crown Heights. Now he lives in Tzfat." I said, "Shner Zalman, can we have some shmurah matzah for when we come out of the sea?" And he said, "Oh my gosh, how did you know that? That he brought with him shmurah matzah to Saudi Arabia to be our mashkiach. Why? Because the person who runs all the hashkacha in Saudi Arabia, he has a student who lives in Tabuk. He's a student of his, but he teaches English in Tabuk. He's the only Jew who lives in Tabuk, and he couldn't get matzah for Pesach. So he said, Pesach Sheni is coming up. Can you send me some shmurah matzah? So the one yid in Tabuk asked for shmurah matzah, and because of that, we were able to get a piece of shmurah matzah when we came out of the Kriyas Yamsuf. And then when we went up on the mountaintop, it was so windy. And the reason why it was so windy, I thought it was because we're on the top of the mountain, but my wife told me it was the Ruach HaKodesh. The Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, so now we have our introduction. Oh, Papa, do you have anything to add to this? My father, want to add anything? No, you're good. Okay. Yeah, he's good. Okay, so
how did this happen?
So this is so we're on the top of Lamed Aleph. So today we talked about the splitting of the sea, but the Daf Yomi for today talks about the Kriyas of the Yarden, the splitting of the Jordan River. So Vayam, do we know exactly where that took place? It was near Gilgal, so it's more focused. What? I don't know. We love to put Professor Kohler on the spot, and he's a good sport. He's a very good sport about it. Okay, so Allenby Bridge is a good enough choice. Vayamdu, we're 3 lines on the top of Ramadal. Vayamdu amayim ayom dil milamala kamu made echad. So the water that was standing from the Jordan River, it stood up in one pillar. Vikama govan shamayim. How tall was the? This is the sun setting of the sun over Har Sinai. You can see that beautiful thing. Kama govan shamayim. What was the height of this water? It was shnei masar mil. By the way, this is directly related to what we're doing here. The water was 12 mil by 12 mil. Why was it 12 mil? Because it needed to have time for the whole Bnei Israel to cross, and the camp was 12 mil. 12 mil is approximately, a mil is 3/4 of a mile, so it's approximately 8 miles. So the camp where the Bnei Israel was an 8-mile area. When you walk around this area, which was 8 miles.
Square.
Okay.
Meaning 8 miles squared or 8 miles.
To go from one side of the camp to the other was 8 miles.
By what?
I don't know. I don't know. There was 8 miles square. What does that mean? I don't know.
A lot of space.
I don't know. It just
4 miles by 2 miles.
we know it was 12
It
mil.
could be 1 inch by 3 million miles.
Okay, we know it was 12 mil.
Right.
So we know it was 12 mil.
That's how they're building neon.
So the point is that the place where we are is there. You see, there are these mountains, but on the bottom is a huge area where Bnei Israel could have camped. Huge area where they could have camped. And also, our guide told us that it says in Deuteronomy that there was a river going down from Har Sinai, and our guide told us that there's a river going down. So, yeah, that's possible. So so it was 12 mil by 12 mil. And why? Corresponding to the camp of Israel. So that's how we know enough further evidence that this is a very plausible place for Har Sinai. So that's what Rabbi Yehuda says, that it needed to rise 12 mil so that people could cross. Whereas Amar lo Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon lidvarecha adam kal mayim kam. So the water gets up to 12 mil, but the people aren't as fast as the water. So by the time they start crossing, the water's going to come back. Imagine it. If the water's quicker, in Cain, so what's the big deal that the water rises? It's going to come back and drown them all. So the water when they crossed Jordan was domes on top of domes. So let me wear my kippah here. Keeping al gabe keeping. It was domes on top of domes. Yes, mil, more than 300 mil. Until all the kings of the east and the west saw it, as it says, meaning all the people in Midian saw it. All the Canaanite kings that God dried up the Jordan for Israel out of Ram until they passed and their hearts melted. They didn't have any more ruach to fight the people of Israel. Even Rachav the harlot. By the way, there's another interesting thing that it says in our daf today that Joshua was the one who was cut off because he had no children, but Joshua married Rachav. Where's the Gemara tell us that? In Erechim. What daf? No. That we don't. Okay, so I look it up. I'm disappointed. So it says. I don't remember. I remember the Gemara says it. It's right. It's 3/4 of the page down. Yeah, maybe it's in Shabbos or Erevin.
We already did. I think it's Erevin. We already did the Rachav Yeshua.
Okay, yeah.
In this cycle.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So anyway, it said, oh, beautiful. Okay, you love that. Yeah, shkoyach. Yeah. So yeah, you can leave that there. Yeah. Okay, so it says also Rachav said that what's going on here? She said, I lost my place. She said to the messengers of Joshua, we heard that Hashem dried up the Yam Suf. And we heard and our hearts melted and she didn't stand up again. They're still in the Jordan. And Amaram Yoshua, no, why are you passing the Jordan River? You're crossing the Jordan to conquer everybody. As it says, now, if you're going to conquer them, mutav, good. Oh, you think that the water's splitting just to help you? No, the water is a threat to you. Because if you're not going to conquer them, this water is going to drown you. Usually, this is unusual. The Brisa is the Gemara is making an inference from the Brisa. Usually, the Gemara makes an inference from a pasuk, osichem, but the pasuk doesn't say osichem. So therefore, it's not okay. Odom b'Yarden, they're still in the Jordan, and Amar and Yoshua and Joshua said, Joshua picked 12 people from Bnei Israel. He said, each one should put a stone on your shoulder. The Mispar Shiftei Israel, according to the tribes of Israel. And as long as this is a sign in your midst, when your children of Israel say, what are these stones? This is a sign for the children that their parents had crossed the Jordan. So Joshua told them all to pick up a stone and establish it in the Jordan. And then a second thing he says, while they're in the Jordan, Amar and Yoshua, Joshua says to them, take from here, from the Jordan, from the feet of the Kohanim, take 12 stones, Vavartem osam imachem, and you shall cross them with you, take them with you. Vinachtem osam b'malon asher talinu bo alayla. Put them in the place where you're sleeping tonight. By the way, you want to see where we're sleeping tonight? I'll show you right here. Beautiful. This is our tents. This is our tents. We're sleeping right here in the sky. You see the moon. I don't know if you could see it. That's where we're sleeping. Yeah, this is the place where you're sleeping. So, I might think you have to set up 12 stones in every place where you're sleeping. Only where you're sleeping tonight. This is a great Gemara. The next line is great. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Abba Chalaftu Rabbi Eliezer ben Masi v'Chanina ben Chakinai. Amdu al Osan Avadim. They stood on those stones. That's Geshmak. By the way, that's what I feel like when we're here. It says, where does it say this? Eino dome re'iyah kishmiya. You can't compare seeing Eino dome shmiya k're'iyah. But you can't compare when you hear it to when you see it. Seeing it is so much better. So, where does it say that? It says by Yisro. That by Yishma Yisro. But which Gemara is that in? Okay. So we'll give him a minute. So it says, but I want to say that when Professor Keller came on the trip, we didn't realize that his father-in-law was our Rebbe too. But Sal and I, we both studied with Professor Keller's father-in-law, Rabbi Heft, and he taught us so much. So it's a great honor for other reasons. Send him our regards. But actually, you might want to leave my name out of it. But Sal's here. Okay. I mean, I have very fond memories of him. I just don't know if it's the same. So then it says. So he says he stood on those stones. All each of those stones weighed 40 sa. What does that even mean?
The volume of water that 40.
That's such an enormous amount of weight. It's impossible for a human being to lift.
Well, a cubic foot is like 7.5 pounds, I think.
And you can. It's impossible. So, Ugamiri de Tuuna. The madly inish kasfe tilsa to tuune, and a person can put on his shoulder. We know from here 1/3 of what he could put if other people put on him. Having from here we can figure out what the Meraglim brought back when they brought back the cluster of grapes. Where were the Jewish people camped when the Meraglim brought back? Where were they camped in? Was that at Kadesh? Where's Kadesh? That's a real question because it could.
There's still a place.
Is that a Midian?
No.
It's not here. We're not near Kadesh. Sorry. So it says, and they put it on the poles in 2. They carried it by 2. From the fact that it says a pole, which is a mot, is something you need 2 people. I know it's 2. What does they do? Motos. They had 2 poles, and each one required 2 people. And Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Tortini, Tortini. Oh, I don't even know. That's such a beautiful phrase. I don't even know if the phrase Tortini appears elsewhere in the Gemara, but here we say Tortini. I have 3 diagrams, 3 possibilities in my Gemara. But Rashi says what it basically is I think this is like the Carmel logo. That you have 2 men with poles going, and then you have 2 diagonals going across it. So now I see my mother's on the Zoom too. What a beautiful thing to see. Okay. So Tortini. Haketzad Shmona Nasu Esko Echad. 8 people carried 1 cluster. Rashi says that there were 2 poles and then the others diagonally, and so therefore you need 8 people carrying because 2 carried each pole. And then Rimon Ve'echa Nasa Te'ena. Echa Nasa Rimon Ve'echa Nasa Te'ena. 1 carried the pomegranates, 1 carried the figs. Joshua and Caleb didn't carry anything. They're too important to carry. They weren't in that same. They didn't take part in the council. They knew it was going bad. By the way, do you know how we got our desk up to the mountaintop? A camel carried it. Now let me ask you a question. Why didn't they use a camel to carry that back their fruit? Why did they have to carry it themselves? Oh,
real answer?
Yeah.
Before they had domesticated camels.
But they had camels in Genesis. Not
for carrying so much stuff.
They didn't carry it. What did they use it for?
The camels.
At that point, it's like everyone's riding on donkeys. Camels are used for display, basically. I mean, Ebed Abram brings 10 camels to show off how rich he is.
But what would you use the camel
for? The only
for?
place you really find it is
maybe riding.
Not camel. No, you never ride.
You
no
never
one rides on a camel. Rivka, only girls ride on camels, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, fine. There's a lot to know about these camels, but why weren't they carrying camels? Pligi bar Rabbi Ami, Rabbi Yitzchak Nacha, Chadamar, Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. So one says, according to Rabbi Yehuda, who said that the water went up to 12 mil from the top of Lamadal on base, Kechani son of that they crossed as a camp across the sea. All of them walked together. That's why it needs to be 12 mil. And Divrei Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Shimon, they crossed one after the other. That's why you need the water to be so high, because you imagine one person walking at a time, they never get anywhere. And that's why they went really slowly. And that they crossed over in the manner in which they camped. The one who says it was only 12 mil because that man is faster. Umar Savar Mayim Kalm who says the water is faster, then water needs to go much higher. Shlach Hashem. Hashem says to Moshe, send for yourself, man. This is what you want. You think this person is choosing a bad path for himself? The matter was good in my eyes. Meaning to say, Moshe said it was good in my eyes, but Hashem didn't want it. He should dig out.
Basically, don't blame the Meraglim story on Moshe.
No, why?
That's what this whole meaning.
It was on God.
Yeah,
They blame it on Moshe. Moshe said it was good in my eyes, but not Moshe. But Hashem didn't want it.
You want it?
And the scouts were supposed to. Here, Joseph, you want to sit next to me? I'm gonna put you're gonna be a star, a YouTube star. I'll put you on the Zoom. Here's Joseph. Everybody should donate to Lekit Israel. And they scout out the land. The scouts, their whole intent. We're not trying to translate Meraglim as spies in this area. We're worried about that. So we're just translating as scouts. They didn't intend to embarrass the land of Israel. They only intended to embarrass the land. It says here they scout out the land. The moon was ashamed and the sun was ashamed. You want to see a beautiful moon right there? You could see it's coming out. Let's look how beautiful that moon is. I know, I'm just showing you my face. Look at that beautiful moon. It's really spectacular. And by the way, there's something about the desert is really good air. I have like no problem with cold or anything. And this year is blowing my nose every day. I haven't had to blow it once since I came to the kingdom. The Eila Shemosam, these are their names. Lamatei Reuven, Shemua ben Zachor. From the tribe of Reuven was Shemua ben Zachor. This is a tradition from our forefathers. Meraglim al Shem Ma'aseim Nikro.
It was a Bechira.
The what?
It was their Bechira.
That's an excellent question.
That's what they gave him.
The spies were named for their actions. We only know one of their names, Sisur ben Michael. But don't we know more than that? Yeah, I think.
No, meaning we only understand one of them.
No, but I remember in the commentaries, wasn't there a Tosfos that gives another explanation? Anyway, Sisur ben Michael, Shasasur Ma'asav Shel Kadosh Baruch Hu. He did isn't Rashi on the Torah say a couple more? I think he did. He just quotes the Gemara. That he contradicted the actions of God. Michael Sha'asatzmo Mach, that he attacked God. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Afanu Namar Nachbi ben Favsi. Why was he called Nachbi ben Favsi? Nachbi shehechbi dvarav shel Kadosh Baruch Hu. He hid God's words. Favsi Vavsi shepisei al midosav shel Kadosh Baruch Hu. He stepped on the attributes of God. Vayahu ben Negev vayavo Chevron. They crossed in the Negev and he came to Chevron. Vayavo mibayaway. It should say they came. So Amarava Malamed Shapirish Koev me'atzas meraglim. That Koev separated from the council of the spies. The Koev didn't want any part of the spies, and what did he do? Amaran avosai bikshu irachim shenatzo me'atzas meraglim. He said, my forefathers should request mercy that should be saved from the council of the spies. Yeshua kfar bikesh Moshe avrachim. Joshua already requested Moshe. Moshe already requested Joshua to have mercy, that Hashem should have mercy. It says, Vayikra Moshe Yoshua ben Nun Yoshua, Ka Yoshiacham Yatzas Meraglim. Moshe requested that God should save Joshua from the council of the spies. And that's why it says, Kolev had another spirit with him. By the way, so Kolev went to his ancestors' graves to pray for them to help him. So today we went to a grave of Yisro. We went to Jethro's grave, went to the tomb and this is a true story. It was a very dark area, and Betzalel stuck his head in first. And guess what happened? A bat flew into his face right when he stuck his head in, and we saw that they were the graves that they were buried there. So we see from here that it's a inyan to go to the graves of our ancestors and to pray for spiritual help. The Sham Achiman Shishai v'Talmai, and there in Hebron he saw these three men in Achiman, Shishai, and Talmai. They were the giants. They were the children of the giants. Achiman miyumon sheba achav. Achiman was the strongest of the brothers. Shishai shemeisim es arz ke tot, that he was so strong that he stepped on the ground, he made indentations. Talmai shemeisim es arz tlamim. He made the earth furrows. Davar acher Achiman bana anat Sheshai bana Alash and Talmai bana Tabush. They built these three cities.
They got the father Avihim. Aren't there four Anakim?
Yeah, they were.
Sheshai Talmai Achiman and Avihim. Their father.
What was their father's name?
Avihim doesn't say. Right, that's why it's called Kiryat Arba also. Right?
Yehidei Anak, the children of the giant. Shemanikin Chama b'Komasan. They were so tall that the sun became like a necklace to them. The Chevron Sheva Shanim Nivnasa. Chevron was built for 7 years prior to Sotah in Egypt. My Nivnasa. Why do you mean it was built? You aim a Nivnasa Ma'amish. If you would say it was actually built. After Adam Bona bias, like with no cotton kodol negadol, are you going to build a house for your younger son before your older son? Your father did. Betzalel says his father did. They'll say Canaan was the son of Cham, so the children were Cham, Cush, and Mitzrayim, and so therefore Mitzrayim was older than Canaan. So therefore he's going to build for. So he's going to build Mitzrayim before Canaan. So Hebron was 7 times better than so on. You have no rocky land in Israel worse than Hebron. The Kivrei Ba'Shivre, because it's a cemetery. You have no land better than all the other lands, better than Egypt. As it says, by the way, you understand this here when you come here to Midian. I don't know what Egypt looks like, but Midian does. It's all I see is stones and desert, right? There's nothing else here.
Sinai is very similar to this.
The Sinai is not the real Sinai. Let's just be clear about that. So, Hashem b'kol eretz. There's nothing better in all of Egypt than so on. Because it says Kiayu, but so on Sarav, and so on was where the princes went. And Hebron was 7 times better than so on. The Hebron to Rashim was Hebron rocky. And when at the end of 40 years, Vayomer Avshalom Melch Elchanan, right? This Gemara, this pasuk appears in Maseches Nazir at the bottom of Amud Beis, going to the top of Amud Alf. I don't remember the daf. What? Hey. Va'amar that was Avshalom. We went to Hebron. Va'amar Avia v'yitem Rav Baruchanan. Shahalach Avi Kvasim in Hebron. He went to bring the sheep from Hebron. V'tanya Elim Mimoav Kvasim in Hebron. The rams were from Moab, and the sheep were from Hebron. And so, therefore, clearly there was a lot there. So, where it says no, enough, that's proof that it was terrible land. I did the cliche ara because the land was all rocky. Of the raya of Hashem and Kenyan, that's where they grazed the sheep, and they fatted up the sheep there because they couldn't plant there. They didn't use it as vegetables. You see, this is proof. Like a scholar can. This is what Rabbanit Henkin told me. She said her husband told her, a good rabbi can connect anything, and a bad rabbi will. That's what she said. You can make any argument here from this Gemara. Enough, and that's your proof. Vayashuvim to our hearts, and they went back from scouting out the land. Vayelchu, vayavo. Why does it have to say vayelchu that they came? So it says the Gemara on top of Amud Amadav. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishim Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Makish Arichol Abiyah. We compare their going to their coming. Ma biyah beitzara. Just like when they went to the land, they had bad intent from the outset. Afalicha beitzara. So, or just the opposite. Just like when they came back, they had a bad intent. So too, when they went, they had bad intent. Vayisapruo, vayomru banu, and they told him, and they said they came. Ksiv efes kiaza'am. They said we came, we saw this food, but it was worthless because the people there are too strong. Amar Rabbi Yochanan B'Shimber and Meir, Kolosh and Harash Embo Davar Emes with Chilas and Emes Kaim Sotah. If you're going to say something bad about somebody, the most dangerous thing is that when you include something true about it, because that messes everything up, because that makes it more believable. And then Vaya, I just want to do 2 more lines because it connects to Har Sinai here. Vayaz Kohev Hasam El Moshe. Kohev quieted the people to Moshe. How did he quiet them? Amaravash, he seized some bidvarim. He tricked them. Pasach Yoshua, he saw that Yeshua started to come. Yeshua was speaking, and they said, Amri Dain Rosh Katiya, this guy who's going to be cut off because he has no children. Yamalo, he's going to speak. Amar Imishta, what? He had no, yeah, that's what the Gemara with Rachav says he had. Amar Imishtaina, Amri Be Milsa, V'chasmili. If I'm going to speak, they're going to shut me up. Amar Len, V'chizubo Varasilanu Ben Amram. So Caleb said, Is that all? Ben Amram did to us? They couldn't even call him Moshe. We were a tremendous share. We're going to post it on the YouTube later from Professor Kohler today about Moshe. Savri Beganusi Kamashai. They thought he was going to say something bad about Moshe. Ishkiku, they were quiet. Amr, we said to them, Hotziumi Mitzrayim, he took us out of Egypt. Karulanu Asayam, he split the sea for us. Hachilanu Asaman, he gave us the man. Im Yomar Asu Sulamos Vaurakia, if he'll say to us, build ladders and go up to the sky. Well, Nishmolo, Alon, shouldn't we say we'll go up? But Yerashnu also, we have to believe everything he says. What a geschmack daf to do it at Har Sinai with the sun setting behind us. Look at that. Beautiful.
Sunrise tomorrow.
Join us. Yeah, we're gonna be sending out another daf later today. In a few hours, we'll do the next daf. We're gonna be studying all night. Not all night, but a lot of the night. We'll study Torah from Har Sinai. Such a geschmack.